On the very first order, we got a stacked order, and I'm gonna take you along with me. We're gonna see how much money you can expect as a food delivery driver. My name is Matt. I am Mike's twin brother on his channel, Your Driver Mike. So we're gonna go over how to maximize your earnings on the road. So my first order was a stacked order. That means I got two at the same time from a crepe restaurant and a restaurant called Howlee. Right off the bat, $9+. So at this rate, we can make a ton of money, which is exactly what we want for you. On my brother's channel, Your Driver Mike, we try to make sure you maximize your time on the road. Well, the weather is getting colder and colder. It's about 44 here in Pittsburgh, and it's gonna get a lot colder, but it's the dinner rush. Well, guess what? That means that it's prime time for food delivery drivers like you to get on the road, and we saw that on our very first order. So you gotta bear with us with these winter videos. We lose a little bit of sunlight a lot faster, but the whole point of this stacked order strategy, driving these shifts where it's gonna be a little colder, it's gonna be during dinner rush, is so you can get multiple stacked high dollar orders. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop this one off at the customer, and then we're gonna pick up the next order. Okay, so one of the biggest killers, and keep this in mind if this ever happens to you, is waiting for the next order and having phone issues, which I just had. So if you're a food delivery driver and you're driving multiple apps like Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, it might cause your phone to get laggy. And if that happens, I tried to take a picture of this Uber Eats order and my phone froze. Completely froze because I had low service. Well, don't be afraid of closing that particular app and then reopening it. You're not gonna lose your spot. It will prompt you like it did on my Uber Eats to take another picture of the delivery drop-off. You wanna make sure you do that so you can prove that you're at the correct location. If you have some phone issues, I just want to share what I just experienced, because if you do, don't be afraid of closing that app and reopening it so you can get back on the road and making money. So I decided to record the summary of the rest of my trips on that shift on another day. So we found some sunlight. So let's just jump right back into it. I got a really solid order from Thai Outlet. So again, during this shift, it was the dinner rush, and this is going to be really what you want to focus on, that dinner rush as the weather gets cold and driving later if you can. But take a look at this. Now Grubhub is showing me the mileage. And again, if you're a new driver, Grubhub traditionally has not shown us the mileage. So now I can make an even better decision, because again, we want you to get paid around 2 times the pay per miles driven. So you can simply see on the Grubhub request how many miles it takes and how much am I getting paid for those mileage. It helps you make a lot smarter decisions when you're on the road. A dinner rush staple, Bangkok balcony here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, $8.80. So this is really gonna lead us to a good or fairly good hourly rate. So stick around at the end of the video. We're going to tell you exactly how much we made on this shift, but some more strategies. Drive that dinner rush. You wanna drive later if you can. Yes, even on the weekdays, there's really no super hot day. Now, I will say the weekends are obviously a little busier, but Sunday night, when a lot of folks are going and preparing for that work week, Sunday nights are huge. And I've talked in other videos, driving around those Sunday football games, driving around those games, forming your strategy, getting on the road, because a lot of people are ordering foods during those games as well. So my next one was from Everyday Noodles. So a $7+ order. It wasn't that double-digit dinner rush order I was really looking for, but I knew there might be a chance for this, an add-on order. So an extra $6+ on top of my Everyday Noodles order at the same restaurant. Now again, so the downside, if you will, of the dinner rush, I did have to wait because I just got that order while I was picking up or waiting for the first order. But the restaurant also just got the order too. So when you are at the restaurant, or let's say you just happen to be next to the restaurant and you get their request, it's very likely you're gonna wait a few minutes. So keep that in mind when you're managing your time, because again, time kills your money. But if it's a few minutes, 5-ish minutes, you should be okay. So that's why when you go in, you wanna ask how long it's gonna be. So this actually happened to me today while driving, and I just wanted to point this out because you'll have certain customers with really specific directions. And yes, those are for a reason, but take a look at these directions and it really threw me for a loop. It was a new part of the city, but again, if you have a customer that gives you really specific directions, what you want to do is, to your very best knowledge, follow them. And if you have questions, here's the big part. If you're going to be late because you don't know where you're going, call the customer, because your customer rating, what they're going to give you, relies on it. And especially in this cold weather, you want to make sure you have your food saver bag, because the more you're driving around and around, the food is getting colder and colder. So to make sure your rating is the highest as possible, you do risk deactivation. Now, I think on DoorDash, it's anything below a 4.2, which is honestly really low. But if you keep your ratings high, which is what we want for you, you're going to be okay. So remember, if you have very specific instructions, make sure to follow them. If you do get confused, do not be embarrassed to call the customer and ask, I'm a little bit lost, can you direct me to where you are? So we are back here in the home office just to go over the numbers, and then we're going to kick it back out to the field for our recap. But the main takeaway of this shift is that it was only for a few hours, but as we get into that winter season, like I talked about, that dinner rush season, you can make more money in a shorter period of time. Typically, typically there's less people walking to restaurants when it's colder. That just stands to reason. So typically you can make more money. So you will see that in the earnings. So let's go ahead and break down how much we made on this 2-hour short shift. So like I mentioned, this shift was from 6 to 8 p.m., but that's great because that is the dinner rush time. I did a total gross revenue of $59.43. And over those 2 short hours, I was very efficient and I made $29.71 per hour. I delivered a total of 7 deliveries and I received a very generous $28.38 in tips. Based on 10 business miles, that is an average pay per mile of $2.97. And also based on those mileage, my tax deduction comes to $5.60. So you probably have a busy life, much like I do. I am a new father, so even 2 hours on the road can be or seem like forever just to be away from my little guy. But I will say that if you can drive part-time, if you're a full-time driver, you can sustain this $29, $30+ an hour hourly rate fairly comfortably if you drive that dinner rush shift and you consider driving later. Now, of course, there's no guarantees, but the whole point of this channel, Your Driver Mike, which again is my twin brother's channel, we try to give you those tips and strategies. We try to tell you when to go online so that you make the most money in the shortest amount of time. So hopefully you learned something on this video. I will kick it back to the field because I did record my outro there. But again, my name is Matt. I am Mike's twin brother, so let's send it to the field. So I hope you do like this content. My name is Matt. Again, I am Mike's twin brother on his channel, Your Driver Mike. Make sure to subscribe and drop a like if you do like this content. And you can click or tap the screen here for a video recommended to you from YouTube. And we will see you in the next one.